I graduate my senior high school, and then in September I go to Japan. I come to Japan. Dia uh,
Okay. Just explanation from Kaka why she start her scholarship and studying in Japan, right?
yeah.
And were there any specific during your
I'm sorry.
uh
Can you
all right,
repeat?
were there any sorry,
Yeah.
can you hear my voice?
Yeah. No, I
Okay,
can hear.
let me repeat the question. Yes, all
Yeah,
right.
please.
Were there any specific challenges you faced during your
Um,
adaptation process? Maybe like culture shock, and how did you overcome them?
the culture shock or can I use Indonesian language by the way?
Yes, of course,
I'm sorry, but
no problem.
English language is not my daily language. That's why, yeah.
It's okay.
So, di Jepang kayak culture shock kan ya.
Yeah.
Culture shocknya itu yang paling besar ada dua. Yang pertama itu adalah cara membuang sampah orang Jepang. Kalau di Indonesia kan buang sampahnya bisa dimanapun, kapanpun, dan apapun itu dia. Kalau di Jepang, di setiap wilayah itu punya peraturan untuk penentuan hari pembuangan sampah. Contohnya di tempat saya tinggal itu di Prefektur Aichi, Kota Tahara. Di sini buang sampahnya itu setiap hari Senin dan hari Kamis untuk sampah makanan dan juga tisu. Terus kalau plastik itu dibuang sebulan 2 kali. Tanggalnya beda-beda setiap bulan. Dan juga kalau punya sampah kayak sepeda atau TV itu harus punya izin berbentuk surat yang ada nomornya dan harus bayar uang. Jadi itu agak ribet. Itu perbedaannya culture shock banget sih tahu itu. Terus yang kedua,
Sangat menarik.
ya, terus yang kedua sistem pajak di Jepang. Kebetulan di kelas saya belajar tentang perpajakan Jepang, jadi sedikit kayak kaget juga dengarnya kalau di Jepang itu semua pekerjaan, entah itu guru, pegawai kantoran perusahaan yang negeri ataupun swasta, semuanya jika sudah berumur 20 tahun harus bayar pajak setiap bulannya ke negara sampai umur 60 tahun. Sama 40 tahun itu bayar uang pajak, and then ketika udah 65 tahun itu bisa ditarik setiap bulannya, jadi kita dapat uang dari negara setiap bulan. Tergantung uh, seberapa perlunya kita itu ditentukan oleh negaranya sendiri. Kayak sebulan 8 juta dapat uang atau gimana itu setiap orang beda-beda. Jadi itu keren banget sih. Jadi kalau udah tua nggak perlu kerja dapat uang. Itu keren banget.
Berarti ya, yang membuat culture shock-nya di daerah
Ya,
Jepang itu.
keren banget. Bukan guru atau bukan pegawai sipil tapi dapat uang pensiun dari negara.
Mungkin ada yang lain culture shock-nya atau
Hmm,
seperti pendidikannya di sana bagaimana gitu?
pendidikannya di sini itu yang pasti sekolahnya dimulai dari jam 8. Nggak ada sekolah dimulai dari jam 7 atau jam 6 pagi itu nggak ada. Dan juga siswanya di sini itu belajarnya sampai malam ya. Kalau sekolah konvensional pada umumnya kayak SMA, SMP itu sekolah sampai jam 4 sore atau gimana, nanti malamnya itu mereka ikut klub lagi. Kalau saya di sekolah, biasanya pulang dari jam 9 pagi, pulang jam 1, terus ikut klub yang ada di sekolah, kayak klub dance atau klub olahraga, itu harinya berbeda. Nah, abis itu kita bisa belajar di perpus lagi. Jadi banyak banget kegiatan yang ada di sekolah. Terus
Hmm,
ada kegiatan sukarelawan. Jadi saya sering ikut sukarelawan juga, kayak eh, di mana gurunya ngasih tahu, terus ikut. Keren.
hmm, keren sekali ya kak ini. Nanti sangat produktif gitu ya di
Iya,
Jepang gitu.
nggak boleh diem.
Gak boleh diam.
Iya.
Alright. And could you highlight a memorable cultural exchange moment or experience that left a lasting impression on you during your time in Japan?
Hmm, kayaknya ikut sukarelawan gitu. Kalau pas ikut sukarelawan itu kita bisa bertemu dengan banyak orang Jepang. Kalau di kehidupan sehari-hari itu kan bertetangga itu, saya udah setahun tinggal di Jepang, saya tahu wajah tetangga kayak gimana, namanya siapa, seintrovert itu orang Jepang. Jadi ketika saya dapat kesempatan untuk jadi sukarelawan, kayak ke gedung, ke balai kota atau enggak ke panti yang ada di kota ini, jadi saya bertemu dengan orang-orang Jepang yang eh, berpengalaman di bidangnya masing-masing, terus dapat banyak pembelajaran. Itu sih yang paling keren. Yang paling kayak berbekas di ya gitu.
Lihat kegiatan KOK yang banyak ini tuh, how do you balance academic and social life in Japan?
Ini
Gimana cara ngebalance?
kebetulan saya ada part time job, jadi seminggu kerja itu 5 kali, hari Senin, Rabu, Jumat, Sabtu, Minggu. Jadi sekarang kan hari Sabtu, tadi pagi saya part time, terus pulang jam 1, terus ikut Zoom ini. Terus besok ada part time 8 jam, dari jam 8.30 sampai jam 5.30. Terus kayak gitu aja. Hari Senin sekolah dan ujian, Selasa ujian, Rabu ujian, ya every day. Jadi
Uh, berarti
membalancekan
every
semua
day.
itu, uh, kunci paling utamanya itu adalah jangan terlalu banyak megang HP. Kalau udah megang HP itu nggak bisa bilang. Soalnya nggak bisa belajar. Gitu.
Oke, berarti emang harus
Harus
bisa
waktunya harus
manage
dibagi.
waktunya
Ya,
juga gitu.
manajemen waktunya. Gitu. Dan juga harus punya tekanan sendiri. Kayak kalau saya itu tekanannya kan karena ada part time jam segini udah harus berangkat ke sana, jadinya nggak megang HP untuk siap-siap eh, ke tempat part time atau enggak besok bawa bento gitu. Itu bawa bekal ke sekolah itu kan harus disiapkan di malam hari, jadi buat itu malam harinya, terus paginya sekolah, sorenya belajar, malamnya itu lagi, jadi nggak terlalu banyak megang HP. Itu sih
Hmm.
cara ampuh untuk mengatur waktu.
Oke, berarti kalau dilihat-lihat dari kegiatannya Kak Oka ini tuh, how was the study experience in Japan influence your worldview and what do you hope to bring back to Indonesia after completing your studies?
Kalau untuk pandangan tentang dunia itu gimana? Setelah saya tinggal di Jepang, kebetulan di sekolah itu nggak dari Indonesia aja. Di sekolah saya ada orang Vietnam juga, ada orang Filipina, orang Vietnam, Filipina, Myanmar, sama Indonesia, 4 negara. Jadi di sekolah pun ketika ngomong sama orang dari negara lain itu kayak ternyata ada bahasa yang kayak gitu. Padahal eh, kayak kita sama-sama bisa ngomong bahasa Jepang, cuman ketika ngomong sama teman-teman yang dari negara lain itu diajarin bahasa mereka, terus kayak diajarin budaya-budaya mereka tuh kayak ini. Ada kayak gini loh di negaraku, tuh kayak keren banget. Bisa tahu negara-negara lain selain Indonesia. Tapi setelah tinggal di Jepang itu jadi tahu juga bahwa Indonesia itu sangat beragam. Terus uh, karena saya dari Bali juga, ketika ada orang Jepang yang tanya, kamu dari mana? Oh, saya dari Bali. Ih, ada kayak kenapa tempat sebagus itu orangnya malah keluar dari sana gitu. Padahal banyak orang yang ingin ke Bali. oh saya dari Bali padahal tapi keluar dari Bali kayak gitu. Jadi ternyata sebagus itu Bali untuk orang lain. Dan saya makin mengerti bahwa tempat asal kita itu eh, benar-benar seberharga itu. Karena apalagi nggak bisa pulang, kan udah setahun lebih nggak pulang, jadi kangen orang rumah, keberadaan keluarga itu penting, itu berasa.
Right. So selain belajar can apa ya, membuat koneksi banyak juga dari teman-teman yang dari berbagai negara juga gitu ya Kak Aka ya.
Ya,
Alright.
punya teman dari
I think
berbagai negara.
uh, I think this is last question. Could you give some tips for people who want to study in Japan? Karena banyak teman-teman yang pengen belajar, terus pengen dapat beasiswa juga ke Jepang gitu.
Yang pertama pasti belajar bahasa Jepang ya, dulu. Kalau setelah tinggal di sini tuh orang-orang luar negeri yang bahasa Jepangnya itu levelnya tinggi itu di sini makin dihargai. Secara tidak langsung saya ngerasainnya kayak gitu. Kalau kita ngomongnya belum bagus, tapi kayak baru tinggal di Jepang sebulan, 2 bulan itu bahasa Jepangnya nggak bagus nggak apa-apa sih. Tapi kalau udah tinggal lama di Jepang terus bahasa Jepangnya masih tetap nggak bagus, itu kadang jadi masalah. Jadi selama masih di Indonesia, kalau emang benar-benar mau ke Jepang, pelajarin dulu bahasa Jepang sebisa kamu, terus ke Jepang. Bahasa Jepang itu penting banget. Kalau udah nyampe di sini.
Halo, aku udah ada. Enggak dia ngomong. Berarti kayak teman-teman juga harus nyiapin nih sebelum persiapan ke Jepang itu kayak persiapkan ya bahasa Jepangnya ya gitu
Ya,
biar
bahasa Jepang itu
lebih
penting banget.
mudah
Ya.
buat itu.
Soalnya eh, pelajaran yang ada di internet, kalau itu nggak tahu, kita nggak bakalan ngerti apa yang diomongin orang Jepang asli. Karena itu beda, sama kayak bahasa Indonesia. Bahasa Indonesia textbooknya itu beda sama bahasa sehari-hari kan. Nah di Jepang itu juga kayak gitu, textbooknya itu udah susah banget, tapi ternyata ketika mereka ngomong tuh lebih susah lagi. Jadi kalau nggak tahu basicnya yang ada di buku itu bakalan susah berinteraksi sama orang Jepang. Gitu.
Gitu. Berarti
Ya,
mudah-mudahan eh, mungkin ini sampai sini saja talk show yang pertama untuk Oka dan terima kasih sudah sharing kegiatannya dan bagaimana tips-tipsnya. Makasih Kak Oka. Thank you.
ya, welcome.
Now let's move on to our next session. We've got Rio Ogata, a Japanese student who got a scholarship from the Indonesian government. Get ready to hear his cool stories about life studies here. So let's welcome Rio Ogata.
Eh,
Okay. Hello.
Good afternoon, Rio.
Good afternoon.
Okay, without any further ado, I want to ask you some questions. Let's start from
Yeah.
the first one. So, can you take us back to one of your earliest moment in Indonesia when you thought, wow, this is like completely different from Japan? Like, what was the moment and how did you shape your perspective on the diverse culture in Indonesia?
Okay, so my first visit to Indonesia was around September 2022. And after studying Indonesian language for 1 semester in Japan, and it was my first experience to visit a country in Southeast Asia. So for me, everything looks like entirely new. And for example, when I first time saw the crowded transportation in Jakarta, or when I first time try to order some foods at the warung along the street, I feel like, oh, I'm really in Indonesia now like this. However, the most significant difference for me compared to Japan was about religion. Before I came here, I already Islam. However, when I left and directly observed Indonesian society, it brought about changes in my perspective on the diversity of Indonesia. So, do you know about the religious views of Japanese people? According to a survey, more than 60% of Japanese people responded that they do not have a religion. Furthermore, many Japanese people have negative feelings toward the word of religion. In my opinion, this situation can be attributed to the separation of the word religion from Japanese society. And this separation comes from the Japanese historical background. So, during the World War II, the Japanese government combined Buddhism and Shinto, which worships the Japanese emperor, and used it to mobilize citizens for the war effort. Furthermore, in the 1919s, there was incidents of terrorism by sect-based religious groups in Japan. Since then, the word religion has acquired a negative atmosphere in the Japanese society. But in Indonesia, I am sometimes asked like, what is your religion? But such questions are not usually uncommon in Japan, and it's not usual to discuss about it. However, in my opinion, religious elements have become an integral part of life in Indonesia, and people are more open to discussing their beliefs. And I sense that Indonesians exhibit respect towards various religions and acknowledging the differences and appreciating the diversity of each other. And I'm currently researching about the lives of Muslims living in Japan in the laboratory at Keio University. And since I am not a Muslim, and which makes me a minority in Indonesia, however, I have never felt any inconvenience due to that. On the other hand, in Japan, where Islam is minority, Muslims often experience unpleasant situations, and many of their negative experiences stem from misunderstanding about Islam in Japanese society. In Japan, the government does not make any references to religion. On the other hand, Indonesia has a Ministry of Religious Affairs, and 6 religions are officially recognized. At the first glance, it may seem like Japan allows more freedom in choosing one's religion, but I think the Indonesian approach with active government involvement is a way to protect diversity of religion. So therefore, what I have felt coming to Indonesia is the religious diversity and tolerancy in this country, and this shaped my perspective on diverse cultures in Indonesia. Okay.
Wow, that was a lot of difference.
Yeah.
It's like encounter views also. And beyond all the different that you mentioned that, can you tell us like what made you choose to study in Indonesia? Like where the specific aspect of Indonesian culture that particularly made you curious to come in Indonesia?
Okay, so I decided to study Indonesian language because I had interest in Southeast Asian region, and many Japanese students are likely to choose to study languages from like Western countries like English, German, French, or languages from neighboring countries like Chinese or Korean. And these choices may seem more international, but I think that this is not always true because we should pay attention to the increasing economy and the geographical and political importance of the Southeast Asian region in the global community, and the Japanese perception of international seems like being able to speak English or successes in Western countries or something like this. But in my opinion, Southeast Asian areas, including Indonesia, have a significant meaning of the context of international. Also, in addition, with its relatively simple grammar and a large number of speakers, Indonesian language is a rational choice for me. So I choose to study Indonesian language. And of course, I could have studied Indonesian and read books or papers about Indonesian culture, even in Japan, but some aspects such as warmth of daily life, feelings of interpersonal relationship, something like this cannot be comprehended without experiencing it in the real life here. So that's why I decided to come here to study Indonesian language. And next point. While learning Indonesian and living in Indonesia, I have felt that there is something significant that Japanese society might have lost. Now, the specific aspect of Indonesia that interests me is the change in traditional human connections while the modernization of society. While Japan has progressed economically and socially, people feel more isolated, and society seems to have lost the warmth of traditional connections. Yeah, while the progress of social systems and has enriched society, however, the spirit of mutual assistance among neighbors or families and relatives has gradually weakened in Japan. On the other hand, I recognize that Indonesia has traditionally practiced a spirit of mutual assistance among neighborhoods. I learned about the tradition of gotong royong after coming to Indonesia, and I became interested in the collaborative practices of managing a social community together. For example, when someone in the neighborhood is getting married and the neighborhoods collaborate to make preparation for the wedding, and also activities like cleaning the road of Kampung every week are carried out by working together with neighborhoods. So in the past, those practices still exist in Japan. However, they have disappeared from current Japanese society. So I expect that the Indonesian society is also changing as the modernization progresses. So I'm interested in the social changes in Indonesia as it experiences or as it faces between the tradition and modernization. This is my specific interest to learn in Indonesia. Yeah.
Wow, great. That was a interesting aspect that you explained. It's really enhanced my overview of your explanation. I have it for like for me, language play a significant role in understanding culture, right? And sorry, did my voice is clear?
Yeah, now it's clear.
Hello?
Can I say that again?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I repeat it.
Yeah.
For me, language play a significant role in understanding culture. So, how has learning Bahasa Indonesia influenced your perception of Indonesian culture? And have there been any like surprising linguistic connection with Japanese?
Okay, so first, I believe that language plays a crucial role in understanding culture, especially in the field of regional studies. So my research is about the regional studies of the Indonesian society. So I want to say my opinion about this point. So regional research, or to desire to research and to try to understand a completely unfamiliar region, can be something like arrogant and unpleasant for local people, because people there may not welcome to be studied, to be observed, or to be criticized by someone who comes from other side. And actually, it might not always be a pleasant experience. Therefore, if you wish to study a particular region, or if you go to a place where you are not familiar with, it is essential to respect the culture and society. And in order to do that, it is necessary to build a trust with local people and integrate into the society. Consequently, in my opinion, language is a fundamental skill required to conduct regional studies or to understand foreign cultures. And then next about the influence against my perception of Indonesian culture from my experience studying here. As I said before, I have learned many things from this experience: the diversity and tolerance of religions and the practices and spirits of helping each other. These experiences are something I could only gain by studying in Indonesia, living here, and with using Indonesian language within the interaction with culture here. And then about the point of linguistic, I think both Indonesian and Japanese use different expression in the daily life conversation and formal settings. Like, yeah, in Japan, I had studied only formal language, so I first faced confusion in daily conversation here when I first arrived here, because Indonesian language in casual conversation is so different from the I had learned in Japan from the textbook. But Japanese is also like this. We Japanese people also use so different expression in the conversation, daily conversation. And so almost all students from foreign countries at first usually have difficulties to communicate or to have conversation with native Japanese people. So it's really similar. I think it really looks like same. And furthermore, I think there are similarities between Japanese and Japanese, because Japanese have like a Japanese kromo, or called keigo in Japanese. So when we talk with someone who is older or someone who is higher, we should use more formal words or halus words. So the language culture of respecting elderly people or respecting higher people is similar between Japanese and Japanese. Yeah.
Wow, that was a lot of connection between linguistic and social life. So if we can conclude from your explanation, we can know that from language you can open your view between like a lot of linguistic aspects, just like social linguistic or pragmatic. Like, yeah, it have a lot of connection, right? So without any further ado, let's next to the next question. So, how has the cultural environment, in Indonesia has influenced your academic pursuit? Just like your explanation before, you said that there's a significant, there's a similar language used in Indonesia and Japan. And so, how has the cultural environment influenced your academic pursuit?
Okay, so the diversity and tolerance in Indonesia, as I mentioned before, have broadened my perspective and broadened my academic views. And while there is certainly a big number of available materials and translation tools make it easier to access knowledges from around the world. However, what I have felt since coming to Indonesia is that such external approach is not enough, because I noticed that many things can only be known by living in the culture environment here. And I have also come to realize the importance of stepping out of my comfort zone. Living abroad is not a perfectly easy or comfortable thing. For me, also staying in Indonesia is a challenging decision, and also actually I have experienced some difficulties in my new life here, but by taking a step forwards and breaking out of my comfort zone, I have been able to experience the cultures and traditions that I would have never known otherwise. And I could also know many people here and gained experiences that enrich my life beyond the academic fields. Therefore, I've learned from the study environment in Indonesia that the importance of experiential studies and stepping out of my comfort zone. Yeah.
Wow, that was great explanation. So here's the last question. Here's the amazing one. So as a exchange student, like from overseas, could you give some tips for people who want to study in other countries with different cultures?
Okay, so about the preparation to study abroad, I think the most important thing is to prepare preparation. So I think it's important to do your best to get as much input as possible before departure, because I also studied Indonesian language 3 semesters in Japan, and then I came here, but I spent so many time to memorize vocabulary or yes, for some input. So I think I should finish those kind of studies, which can be done anywhere, such as vocabulary memorization or grammar. Yeah, so I recommend to finish those kind of studies before departure. And if you decided to study abroad, I definitely recommend bringing some traditional stuffs of your culture, because I didn't bring anything about Japanese culture, so I ended up in the strange situation. I rent a traditional Japanese clothes in Indonesia to join the culture event. So I recommend to bring some traditional stuff from your country. And also, when living in foreign countries, I think it is important to actively try something you see for the first time, or something that are difficult to accept for the first place. But I believe it will definitely be an experience that will expand your own values or world views and enrich your life and enrich your studies. So if any of you listening here are thinking about studying abroad, I wish you all success. Yeah.
Wow, that was a great tips from this section student, guys. If you want to going abroad to continue your education to study, you have to listen and take a note from Rio's tips. Wow, I think that was a great explanation. Actually, everything is clear. Thank you so much, Rio. I think
Yeah,
enough.
thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much for the explanation. See you next time.
All right. What a fantastic time we had learning about the cultures of Indonesia and Japan with our amazing speakers, Kak Oka and Kak Rio.
Now, like to let the participant who want to ask our speaker, we will open 3 questions. First, which will be the accommodate first. Technically, the question can raise your the questioner can raise your hand, or if you don't want to open your mic, you can just type in the chat box, and the moderator will select 3 participants. Don't forget to mention who the question is for, Kak Oka or Kak Rio.
Alright, for the 3 most interesting and best question, we will give door prize, which will be announced on WhatsApp group. Right. Alright. Alright. Who's
Okay, we're gonna read the first question.
from Adinia? Raise hand first, so you can open your mic, unmute.
Hi.
Hello, Adinia. Alright.
Oh, wait. Wait for
Hi,
me.
you can.
Hello, my name is Adinia. You can call me also Adin. I'm 17 years old. I do listen at PKBM Permata Unggul. And then I have some question. One, how can divert the time and maintain friendship with friends for different countries? Two, how to develop good communication? There are several things that sometimes cause misunderstanding um, between friends from abroad. And three, if Japan prioritizes cleanings and disciplines, can Indonesia be like Japan? They say the Indonesia is a Konoha country, right? So there is a possibility it could not be. Thank you.
Okay, let me have some of it. So Anya asked that how to like menghindari, what is menghindari in English? Like prevent the misunderstanding. So just like Oka is Indonesian student who study Japanese, and Rio is Japanese student who speak Indonesian. So there's must be like misunderstanding between two language use, and how to prevent it from misunderstanding. And for the second question is how is it possible that Indonesian would be like Japan? Rio can answer it first.
Maybe Rio can answer it first.
Okay, so I will answer first. Okay, so the first question about how to menghindari misunderstanding. Ini menurut saya itu kan aku belum pernah mengalami banyak misunderstanding. Karena itu jadi aku gak bisa menjawab pertanyaan ini, tapi menurut saya yang penting itu untuk menghindari misunderstanding itu to have sorry, my brain is now confusing Indonesian language and English. So like to communicate with friends and to have many communication and to respect each other so that we don't misunderstand something. But I think like the kekurangan of the kemampuan bahasa itu bisa membuat some misunderstanding. So I think the most important thing is to learn bahasa and to communicate with friends more and more. And the next point, the possibility of Indonesia to be like Japan. But I think like it's not always true. Like Indonesia should be like Japan, should be like more disciplined, because like I think the Indonesian atmosphere, like more santai, more relaxed. Like this is different from Japanese discipline atmosphere, but I think this is also a great respectable thing. So I think Indonesian people can proud of their own culture. So it's not always true like to mimic like Japanese culture, in my opinion.
Okay, that was the answer from Rio's perspective. So the next answer will be delivered by Mbak Oka. Silakan.
Okay, thank you for the question. So, how can we menghindari a misunderstanding with another person when we talk about Japanese talk with Japanese language or the other language or something? The Saya sering misunderstanding with a person, and I use a gesture, just like use gesture, hand or face. That's make me understand what people say. But selain itu, we have to learn more about Japanese language. For me, I have to learn more Japanese language so I can minimize the misunderstanding. And the second question, can Indonesian be like Japan? So I think uh, every country have a good thing and a bad thing. And the Japanese good thing are discipline or something or so many good things. But Indonesian also have so many good things as kayak cuaca, the weather, and apa ya, kebersamaan itu bahasa Inggrisnya, kebersamaan, and then how the people treat the another people. That's I think in Japanese there is no something like kayak scare orang Indonesia, sepeduli orang Indonesia. Di Jepang jarang ada orang yang sepeduli itu sama orang baru. Kalau di Indonesia kan even that's we don't know that people, we kayak tetap membantu dia gitu kan kalau di Indonesia. Tapi kalau di Jepang itu kayaknya nggak bakalan terjadi. Jadi di setiap negara itu pasti ada baik dan buruknya. That's kayak jadi Indonesia itu nggak harus jadi kayak Jepang banget, tapi harus kayak mengurangi hal-hal buruk tentang Indonesia. Jadi nggak harus kayak Jepang gitu. banyak hal-hal di Indonesia yang bagus.
Right. So to prevent the misunderstanding about the language, we can use the gesture or
studying the basic language from each foreign language. And we must respect too. That's right, Naiza.
yes. So not only highlight one countries, we must learn many languages.
That's right. And Pak Andrew also mentioned that we have to respect and like every country have their own like good things. So it's not only like one thing good, and
Not
we have to.
consider.
That's right.
All right. The next question from Satya, right? Hello, Satya.
Is there Satya? Satya, you can open your camera and your mic to
Ask
ask
the
the question.
questions.
Satu. So I think Satya is not here. So let's move on to the chat box. Ini.
From Bibiru Andeska. Kak Rio and Kak Oka, adakah pengalaman atau sesuatu yang baru yang ingin dicoba di Indonesia atau di Jepang? Maybe Kak Oka answer it first.
Kak Oka, I'm sorry, the microphone is
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hal yang ingin dipelajari, hal baru yang ingin dipelajari di Jepang, karena saya belajar tentang nursing, keperawatan, jadi saya mau belajar bahasa isyarat. Itu sih. Dan juga, enggak sih, itu aja deh. Okay. It's not interesting. Ya, bahasa isyarat. Karena di Jepang kan ada orang yang nggak bisa ngomong dan harus melakukan percakapan dengan gestur tubuh, dan itu mau saya pelajarin di sini. Gitu.
sepertinya ada hubungannya dengan your previous statement that untuk menghindari misunderstanding that you use the gesture. So now we have the
Learn the bahasa isyarat. Right.
Ya,
Okay.
saya punya interest untuk belajar itu dari dulu, jadi ya, tapi belum kesampaian.
That's great. That's keren banget. Now let's move on to Karyo. You can answer the question.
Ya, jadi saya sekarang di Jepang melakukan penelitian tentang masyarakat Islam. Jadi saya ingin mengalami adat atau kebiasaan atau culture Islam di sini. Soalnya aku belum pernah mengalami hari Idul Fitri, aku belum pernah coba puasa di sini. Jadi pasti ini kan sangat beda dari Jepang dan di sini. Jadi saya mau coba puasa di sini dan buka puasa bersama teman-teman di sini.
Wow.
There's so much amazes me because there's like perbedaan waktu di Indonesia and Jepang, so there must be a lot of difference.
Yeah. And tujuannya sangat menarik banget gitu. Alright.
Okay, still in the chat box, we're reached the last question. It's from Rahmi Ramaito. It's for Aoka first. How can you adapt to applying your Japanese language to local people? And the second is for Kak Rio. Do you believe that learning a language can make us similar to that local people? Aoka can answer it first.
Okay. I lived in Japan like for 1 year, and when I come to Japan, that I cannot speak Japanese fluently, and I just use basic Japanese language, and Japanese people were very kind. That's why they are like, okay, I understand. Just just keep spirit, just saying that even you mistake or something, it's okay. This make me have a like smart for saying that Japanese, saying something that I want to say with Japanese language. The point is what I want to say. I just saying that without freaking out, like just saying. I don't care about the mistake. I just like saying that. That's why now I can speak Japanese like yeah a little bit like good like makin bagus daripada dulu. Yeah, yeah, something like that. Just saying that. Just saying what you want to say.
That's right. This me too when I studying English. That's what I did. And itu lumayan cepat gak sih? Kayak 1 tahun udah bisa bahasa Jepang
gitu.
di society-nya yang full bahasa Jepang. That's
Yeah.
really amazing. Keren banget, Kakak. Okay, next to Rio's questions, you can answer it.
Ya, jadi menurut pendapatan saya, kita tidak usah menjadi similar to local people. Soalnya tujuan belajar bahasa itu bukan untuk menjadi orang lokal atau bukan untuk meniru mereka. Tetapi tujuan untuk belajar bahasa itu untuk menjadi bagian masyarakat di sana. Soalnya dengan belajar bahasa Anda bisa berkomunikasi dengan orang setempatnya, Anda bisa berinteraksi dengan masyarakat. Ini kan the most important thing is to communicate and to enter the society in the foreign country. So I think it's not necessary to similar to local people, but you can apa ya? Gak usah meniru, tapi bisa menjadi bagian masyarakat dengan belajar bahasa.
Wow, that's great explanation. So it could be similar with local people,
Yeah, it
but
could be.
kita nggak harus menjadi that local
Yeah.
people. Yes, I agree. So this the last question
again.
Last question.
From Amalina.
It's for Kak Oka.
Mau nanya nih, setiap negara kan itu punya sistem pendidikan yang berbeda. Nah, Amalina ini mau nanya, pendidikan di Jepang apa yang seharusnya dibuat juga di Indonesia?
Kayak pendidikan yang harusnya ada di Indonesia, yang sebaiknya ada di Indonesia itu ketika belajar 1 jam ada istirahat 10 menit. That was so ngaruh banget karena di kelas kalau saya belajar itu ketika sudah belajar 1 jam harus istirahat 10 menit dan ketika istirahat itu nggak boleh belajar. di 10 menit itu. Jadi waktu benar-benar dipakai untuk istirahat dan setelah itu belajar lagi. And then eh, nggak ada kantin di sekolah. Yang ada itu eh, nggak ada kantin yang kita bisa belanja terus dikasih barang kayak gitu nggak ada. Cuman kantin di Jepang itu adanya koki-koki yang masak dan makanannya itu dikasih ke siswanya dengan mempertimbangkan gizi yang ada di sana. Jadi siswanya itu setiap siang harus makan kayak harus ada daging, sayur, harus ada buah-buahan gitu. Jadinya nutrisi anak-anak di Jepang itu terpenuhi. Nutrisinya bagus, jadinya belajarnya bisa bagus. Kalau di Indonesia, mungkin itu cuma ada di sekolah-sekolah elit aja, dapat makan siang dari kantin sekolah. Gitu. Jadinya kalau sekolah kita mau lancar, nutrisi anaknya harus terpenuhi dulu. Gitu sih. Itu yang paling kayaknya bagus kalau diterapkan di Indonesia. Makan siang dari sekolah. Yang gizinya udah diatur oleh ahli gizi.
Oke, berarti harapannya bisa lebih sistematis lagi ya, dan
Iya,
pemerintah tuh juga memperhatiin kondisi gizinya.
gizinya. Kalau terus belajar sampai sore tapi makannya setiap hari ini kan nggak bagus gininya. Fungsi
Benar
otak.
banget.
Ya, jadi harus 4 sehat 5 sempurna. Gitu. Makanya
Ya,
orang-orang
teman.
Jepang yang sekarang itu kayak selain otaknya emang bagus dari dulu, tapi kayak tinggi-tinggi gitu juga sekarang. Karena itu ya, nutrisinya emang udah bagus banget. Yes.
Karena memang beneran ini ya kelihatan ya kayak perbedaan antara nanti
Ya,
Indonesia dengan Jepang seperti yang sudah di-mention Mbak Oka tadi lebih diperhatikan kalau di Jepang kan ya.
ya,
Jadi biar siswanya tuh bisa sehat, kalau ujian juga bisa lebih.
ya. Kalau nutrisi itu
Benar banget.
di sini ada yang komen
Iya.
genetik, tapi kalau dibandingin orang-orang Jepang yang zaman dulu, generasi yang lebih dulu itu mereka kayak nggak setinggi-tinggi orang Jepang yang sekarang, kalau orang muda-mudanya. Karena untuk genetik itu kan emang turunan. Cuman kalau meskipun genetiknya nggak tinggi, tapi makanannya bagus, terus olahraga sering kan bisa ya berkembang gitu. Jadi nggak soal genetik lagi, soal nutrisi itu. Keren banget.
Benar banget. Jadi selain genetik juga nutrisi harus diperhatikan ya. Jadi biar ilmunya tuh bisa terserap dengan sempurna gitu.
Iya,
Jadi kayak
betul banget.
pengaplikasian ilmu ini tuh kayak bisa kayak apa ya?
Lebih bisa, iya benar.
Di-apply gitu. Benar banget Kak Oka. Gitu. I think kita sudah menuju di penghujung acara, teman-teman semua.
Terima kasih juga buat teman-teman yang udah mau bertanya dan
Ya, lanjut.
dan mohon maaf yang tadi Tyson
Kalau belum bisa dijawab semua pertanyaannya, maybe next time if we have
another talk
another
show
talk show or another time we could have a chit chat.
or teman-teman bisa tanya di Instagramnya Kak Tio atau Kak Olga.
Yang tadi ada di CV. If you have a bertanya-tanya sesuatu tapi belum dapat
Terjawab
belum
gitu
terjawab
ya.
gitu benar banget.
Alright. Thank you Kak Olga and Kak Tio.
So we get ready to documentation session.
So yeah, this talk show doesn't feel like it is coming to an end. Many thanks to Kak Tio for sharing a glimpse of his study experience in Indonesia, and to Kak Aka for sharing about life as an Indonesian students in Japan.
That's right. The operator, are you ready? Okay.
Oke, teman-teman, yuk kita on cam dulu ya.
Dihitungin ya.
Teman-teman udah pada siap belum ya? Yuk kita on cam. Halo Kak Rio. Bisa on cam sebentar dulu Kak. Mari kita foto-foto.
Wih, ganjil kurang.
Yuk teman-teman. On cam dulu ya. Oke, kita mulai fotonya. 1, 2, 3. Lagi ya. 1, 2, 3. Oke, satu lagi ya. 1. Jempolnya yuk. 2, 3. Yeay.
Alright. Terima kasih buat teman-teman yang udah
Bersedia untuk meluangkan sedikit waktunya untuk mendengarkan talk show ini. Ini tuh nggak cuma talk show biasa, ini sebenarnya tuh talk show yang sangat luar biasa karena kita mendatangkan narasumber dari Indonesia dan Jepang. Jadi kayak buat negara ini memberikan semua perspektifnya untuk kita semua, apalagi untuk teman-teman yang mau melanjutkan studinya, apalagi ke luar negeri. Tadi sudah disebutkan kalau kita harus mempersiapkan segala sesuatunya itu lebih awal. Seperti itu, seperti yang tadi sudah disebutkan oleh narasumber gitu. Let's we take back to our English. Okay, so thanks to all of you for joining our talk show today. Stay curious, stay connected, and keep exploring diverse culture. I'm Marista Sasi.
and I'm Putraniza. I apologize for any mistakes we made in words or actions. Let us practice. We head back to MC of this talk show. Get to know and explore diverse culture in Indonesia and Japan. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for the hours of our moderators, Putri Aniza and also Morista Sasi, who has guided this talk show very well. And also, I want to thank you for our great speaker from Kak Oka Linggayani and also Kak Rio Ogata yang sudah sangat memberikan penjelasan yang jelas gitu ya. Dari Kak Oka Linggayani yang sekarang lagi ada di Jepang dan juga Kak Rio Ogata yang sekarang lagi ada di Indonesia. Keep healthy and thank you so much for sharing with us today. Karena tadi juga memberikan pesan because between Indonesia and Japan has their own culture, as their own uniqueness gitu ya. Jadi sama-sama bagus, sama-sama berkembang gitu. Jadi teman-teman, this talk show is proposed to gain our strong cross-culture understanding and to make a better world. And also that is why we conduct this talk show. And so that's all for today. And finally, we are already at the end of the agenda. Thank you so much for participating this talk show, and with the hope we can get a lot of useful information about the diverse culture between Indonesia and Japan. Thank you so much. Bye-bye bye-bye all of my friends and all participants. Good afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, Kak.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
See you later, Kak. See you later.
Terima kasih. Keren banget.
Thank you.
Mas Sisel.
Bye everyone.
Untuk
Annyeong.
pertanyaan yang menarik nanti bakal kita hubungin di